I made 0 sales on Poshmark this weekend. Just kidding, but that's definitely how I thought this weekend was going to go. I went nearly 4 full days without a sale on Poshmark, but finally on Sunday I made a few sales, and luckily for the last several days all the other platforms have been really busy, and so it was actually a $400 weekend for me. Let me show you what sold. First up is this vintage Esprit top, which you may have seen recently in my haul video. This sold for $25 to a follower on Instagram. Next up is this LNA clothing dress. This is a brand that is sold on Revolve. This is my first time ever selling this dress. My neighbor actually gave it to me to sell on consignment, and this sold on Depop for $40. I actually had an amazing week on Etsy. Etsy is my least performing platform. I don't cross-list everything there, only my best vintage items. And I have made 4 sales on Etsy this month, which is the most ever, so that's really exciting. And I made 2 sales there just this weekend. The first was this Willow Ridge super fun colorful shacket. It sold for $58.99 and I picked this up at the bins. The other Etsy sale was this vintage Jonathan Martin dress. I also picked this up at the bins and it sold on Etsy for $48.99. Depop was also poppin' this weekend. I sold this pair of Gianna sewn jeans. I had never heard of this brand, but when I Googled them at the bins, I found these at the bins. They retailed for a lot, so I thought I'd give them a try. They took a little while to sell, but they did sell on Depop this weekend for $78.99. Finally, my first Poshmark sale of the weekend was this pair of Sorel kids boots. A friend gave me these to sell and they sold for $15. The next Poshmark sale was this Athleta cashmere cardigan. It sold on Poshmark for $40 and I got it at the bins. And then my last Poshmark sale of the weekend is this Swimsuits for All plus size swim dress. I got this at a church rummage sale, I believe last summer. It honestly might have been 2 summers ago. It took a while for this to sell, but it sold for $24 on Poshmark. I even made a Mercari sale this weekend, which I never make sales on Mercari anymore. It was this vintage Italian scarf that sold for $24.99 and I found this at the bins. And then my last sale of the weekend was on Depop. It was actually a bundle, and it was this vintage Talbot's wool plaid skirt bundled with this Alexis Kirk fun leather belt. And this sold for $82, and I got these at the bins.